What is up, YouTube? Formerly Toker 90704 coming at you gratefully, might I add. I feel inspired today to make this video about how entheogens have changed my life. And before we start on this video, I need to put a standard disclaimer that I am not encouraging you to go out and use entheogenic drugs. I'm not saying that they're fun or cool or safe or anything like that. All the information contained herein is strictly for informational and harm reduction purposes. So yeah, now that we got the disclaimer out of the way, I want to just go. I guess we should start at the very beginning of my entheogenic former journeys in my life. So, the first time I ever had an entheogenic or psychedelic experience, I was probably 17, maybe 18 years old, and the first entheogen that I ever experienced was psilocybin mushrooms. And I thought they were really neat. I remember that was the starting point in my life, when I started to want to learn more and to about myself and about the world and life in general. Okay. Mushrooms opened my mind up to basically like the infinite possibilities that exist metaphysically and spiritually and whatnot. I thought they were really cool, and I experienced mushrooms a handful of times in my life, and some of the experiences were a little bit rougher than others. I kind of fucking had some times on them that were a bit much, but they weren't bad. Bad is, that's relative. It's all perspective. There's easy experiences, and then there's ones that are not so easy. That kind of can be a little bit harder on your consciousness, and that's why it's always safe to know what you're getting yourself into and research a lot, and also look into your family's mental history. Like if you have any like borderline personality disorder, or schizophrenia, bipolar, stuff along that nature, even if you're not experiencing it in the here and now, before you decide to venture into entheogens, there's always the real possibility that the entheogens might bring what's lying dormant in your system to the forefront. That's one of the very real realities of entheogen use. So I had a couple experiences with psilocybin mushrooms. I think the next entheogen that I tried was probably San Pedro cactus or peyote. I used to have a video on my former channel detailing in great length the trip report of both. Maybe on this channel I'll have to re-upload them, but they're not as fresh in my mind's eye as they were, over 10 years ago when they happened. But when I discovered San Pedro cactus, that really got me more walking down the path. The mushrooms kind of showed me a little bit of the other side of reality. I personally found the cactus was a little easier on the consciousness than the mushrooms were. Personally, I thought mushrooms could get kind of confusing. I thought they could get kind of dark at times. And on cactus, personally, I never experienced anything other than a very gentle spirit guide. That kind of like held my hand or cradled me like an infant during the experience. I have to credit the cactus with really getting me more viewing spirituality. And you know, the experience itself wasn't even like really out of this world. It really wasn't like earth shattering or anything like that. You know, it was just, you know, things, colors kind of looked a little bit vibrant, and you know, on a higher on a higher concentration of the cactus, yeah, it got pretty visual, you know, like pattern wise and whatnot. But you know what it did mentally, like the way that it altered my thought process, was absolutely astounding. That was the main thing that I noticed about the cactus, was it just helped me feel like I could be so much more kinder and gentler to myself, you know, because personally, I'm the type of individual where my brain I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to mental health, or, you know, getting along or liking or loving thyself. Something I still struggle with to this day. But with entheogens in my past, I've kind of come to terms more with, you know, being kinder and gentler to myself. Um, the first entheogen that really, boom, you know, like was an earth shattering experience, but was a lot of fun, was 2CI. I tried that when I was 21 years old. And it was still technically a gray area of the law at the time. It wasn't illegal at the time. And, you know, maybe some of you out there in YouTube land remember my original Toker 90704 channel, which YouTube shut down, by the way. I just want to touch down on that. I didn't shut down my original channel. YouTube or the FBI or whoever shut it down after I went on Anderson Live. But that's a topic for another video. But anyway, you might remember, if you saw the original video over 10 years ago, you know, I kind of, like, hindsight is 2020. Maybe I shouldn't have made a YouTube video when I was under the influence of 2CI. But the experience was so profound, and at the time in my life that happened, it was like I just got struck with that source of inspiration where I was like, oh wow, I need to document this, because that was one of the most, at the time, one of the most mind-blowing experiences. That was the first time in my life, and mind you, up to that point in my life, I had had a handful of mushroom experiences and a handful of cactus experiences, but they did not compare at all, like, psychedelically to 2CI. That just completely, reality was gone, you know. Things were changing colors, growing, shrinking. I was visually hallucinating, auditorily hallucinating. And, you know, even still at that point in my life, I wasn't, I wasn't approaching entheogens from a you know, back then it was more just like have fun and party and whatnot. Um, but that changed after having a couple 2CI experiences, after having a couple DMT experiences. I had videos about those trip reports on my old channel, which you know, some of you out there in YouTube land might still remember. Uh, but I think, honestly, when it comes down to it, the entheogen that probably changed my life the most and really turned me into a spiritual person was when I first experienced LSD, and I was 21 years old. And I used it for a number of years when I was in my early 20s. And it completely changed everything. Like, all the insights that I was getting on the other entheogens that kind of like turned me on during the experience and made me think spiritually, it's like those were showing me the other side of the coin. When I was young and LSD was something that I really enjoyed when I was younger, that cemented the change completely. That altered my perception about spirituality, or what most people might consider God to be. Um, Even to this day, I haven't experienced entheogens in years. Honestly, the last time I had a psychedelic experience, I ate some mushrooms after my mom passed away, and it really helped me come to terms with that loss, and but also seeing the whole sightedness of everything, how the universe doesn't waste any energy, and it really helped me come to terms with it. But LSD really just cemented that change in my life. Um, I learned so much about myself, about my place in the universe, about the universe in general, about spirituality, I mean, it's kind of hard to deny the spiritual side of the coin after eternity has blasted you into infinity. And you see the cosmic truth of the nature of reality. You after experiencing that, it's hard to come back unchanged. And honestly, that's why I kind of stopped doing entheogens, was because after that really powerful LSD experience when I was younger, and seeing the nature of reality on the truest, purest form, nothing else really compared to that. And the message that I received that day about how, you know, how the light, or what people want to call God or something, it's literally just pure love. How could it be anything else? That's how entheogens have changed my reality and changed my life, which I personally think for the better. And granted, my experiences should not be taken as a cut and dry that this is going to happen, because they affect everyone differently. Just because they affected me in a very beautiful way doesn't mean that you should expect to get the same results. And also, um, they're completely subjective. And I want to also touch down. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. There was a couple really during time, I experienced some really scary wavelengths and channels, so to say, like in those dimensions. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. There was a lot of things that were kind of scary, and there was a lot of things that were hard to deal with when it came to myself. But my perspective on the matter has always been, I'm going to try to view it in the positive. And again, uh, it goes to show how these experiences are as unique as the individual who's partaking on them. And that's how entheogens have changed my life. And again, I'm not recommending for you to do them, especially if you're a kid. Like, I don't think teenagers or minors have any business tuning into entheogens. You should really let your brain fully develop before you decide to do these things. And that's one of the, like, that's one of the things that I learned. Like, I really kind of wish I would have held off on eating mushrooms until I was a little bit older. But when it came to other stuff, I was really grateful that I held off until I was 21. And, by the time I was 24, I was basically done with my tripping. Um, you know. So, anyway, that's my video. Peace and love and gratitude towards all of you out there in YouTube land. I hope you all have a grateful, wonderful day. And yeah, I'm going to cut this video off, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.